Hello everyone, Weather Jamaica here. Welcome to this updated video on weather across Jamaica and the rest of the Caribbean. It is Tuesday evening, December 3, 2024. Now before we jump into it, please ensure that you guys like the video. I'd really appreciate it if you guys get this video up to 100 likes. If you don't know by now, that's how the YouTube algorithm works. We all like the video and then the YouTube algorithm pushes the video out to more persons who are in the path of these tropical systems so that we can keep everyone safe, especially during the peak months of Atlantic hurricane season, that's August through to October. Share this video with your friends, your co-workers, your relatives, and even your church brethren, and subscribe if you haven't yet done so. Please ensure that you guys utilize the progress bar at the bottom of the video to skip to the points in the video that you want to see the most. If you can't do that, you can also utilize the timestamps that are in the comment section as well as the video description. Please utilize the timestamps. Nobody is forcing you all to sit here and watch this 30, 40, 50 minute video. I know the videos here at Weather Jamaica are very long and we all have things to do. Leave a comment down below letting me know what the weather has been like in your year recently. Also feel free to ask any weather related question that you might have about the future of the weather in your specific area. Alright, so let's just take a look at the 7-day outlook from the Euro model as well as the GFS model. As usual, we're going to be going on to the next one in 68 hours, so keep your eyes peeled at the timestamp right here at the top and focus your attention across the Caribbean right here for all of the moisture that's going to be plaguing portion of Jamaica right here. We know the moisture is represented by what we see on the key on the right. The greens are represented up to 1 inch, the darker greens are represented up to 5 inches, the yellows that represent 6 inches all the way up into the oranges, and the reds that represent up to 10 all the way up to 20 inches of rainfall. So let us see what's in store over the next 7 days. So we can see that as we head into Wednesday, we're going to be plagued by a lot of rainfall across northeastern Jamaica for sure. We see the greens, you can see some colors in there across section of Portland. Even as we head into Thursday, we still have a lot of rainfall to experience across northeastern parishes, and we know some of this rainfall could definitely spill into sections of some other northern parishes. We're talking about maybe Trelawney, St. James, Hanover, and it could also spill into sections of some southern parishes too, especially during the afternoon. So Thursday, Friday into Saturday, we still see the island is going to be plagued by some amount of rainfall, all courtesy of the trough that the frontal system has induced into portions of the island. We see even as we head into Sunday, some rainfall still could be lingering. Monday, we still have some dots of greens across the island. And then we're going to be stopping right here at the end of the 168 hours. We see that we still have some greens that represent rainfall across Jamaica. We also have some rainfall across the central to the eastern Caribbean as well as portions of Central America. But let us see what the latest GFS is showing that just came out an hour ago. Heading into Wednesday, we see the moisture stretching all the way across Jamaica from eastern Cuba, the northern portion of Hispaniola down into Central America. Skipping into Thursday, we still see a lot of moisture that's going to be plaguing the island. Friday, nothing different. Saturday, similar outcomes, as well as Sunday, a lot of rainfall, especially for northeastern parishes. You know, we're talking about Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne for sure. And we're going to be stopping right there at the end of the 168 hours. And we see that there's some consensus. The year in the GFS model showing a lot of rainfall across the central to the eastern portion of the Caribbean as well as portions of Central America. Section of Jamaica still getting in some amount of rainfall. And we see that the accumulated precipitation forecast hasn't changed at all. The most in the way for rainfall should be across eastern Cuba, northeastern Jamaica, stretching all the way down into southern Belize, northeastern Guatemala, northern Honduras, eastern Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama right there, stretching all the way up into the northern portion of Hispaniola. So we're talking about northern Haiti and northern Dominican Republic. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this. I mean, look at the dark reds. That represents 2 inches of rainfall, into the purples and the pinks. That represents 3 all the way up to 5 inches of rainfall. Into the peach colors, 6 to 8 inches of rainfall, especially for Central America right there. That could definitely cause some amount of flash flooding. Definitely landslides could definitely be in the mix. And we see that even the close-up accumulated precipitation forecast showing the next 7 days in terms of rainfall definitely in consensus with the rainfall that's expected for especially northeastern parishes. We're talking about St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. Definitely going to be getting on the brunt of the rainfall within the next 7 days. So don't be surprised if you hear about some brand new breakaways or areas cut off from the main. These things are definitely going to be possible over the next 7 days for sure. This map from the GFS and this map from the Euro are both showing all the rainfall expected all the way up to 7 a.m. on Tuesday. Look at the Euro showing all the way up to 403 millimeters of rainfall from now up until Tuesday next week across Portland and St. Mary. GFS not so robust, but it's still showing a lot of rainfall for the same spots, up all the way up to 195 millimeters of rainfall. That's still too much rainfall. I mean, these areas have been getting plagued by rainfall since October, and it's now December. They're getting it, and they're the usual side of the island that usually gets it during the dry season from December to March. And we know the frontal systems, not to mention the northeasterly flow of the winds, can definitely cause this. Boy, we hope the people of Portland and St. Mary are prepared for what is to come over the next 7 days. If we take a look at the surface map of the Atlantic for this evening, we can see the blue spike lines right here associated with the frontal system that are going to be causing all of this strong northeasterly flow as well as the rainfall for sure. Another frontal system right here across the southeastern portion of the United States. We can see another ridge of high pressure right here to the north that we know is responsible for sending the easterly trade winds across the main development region into the Caribbean. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of the Atlantic before the sun went down, we can make out these entities. The clouds associated with the frontal systems right here. Lots of clouds stretching all the way down to the Bahamas, portion of eastern Cuba. We still see that trough that has been plaguing portions of Central America. We're talking about Nicaragua and Honduras right here, as well as Costa Rica and northwestern Panama, till getting plagued with a lot of cloud showers and thunderstorms. We can also make out that northeasterly flow across the western Caribbean. That's what's going to be plaguing especially northern Jamaica within the next 24 all the way up to 96 hours, all the way into the weekend, guys. It is coming your way. Hopefully you are prepared. Alright, so we'll be talking more about the rest of the Caribbean weather later on. Let us focus our attention on the prediction that was made in yesterday's video about the weather across Jamaica for today, Tuesday, December 3, 2024. It was stated that rainfall and windy conditions were in the forecast for parts of northern Jamaica, especially during the morning hours, and then maybe affecting sections of some southern parishes during the afternoon. And in northern Jamaica, we're talking about those parishes like Hanover, St. James, Trelawney, St. Anne, St. Mary, Portland. While southern Jamaica, we're talking about Westmoreland, St. Elizabeth, Manchester, Clarendon, St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew, and St. Thomas. And what ended up happening? As early as 7:21 a.m., the visible satellite image was posted here on our Twitter page. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that these posts aren't only made here on our Twitter page or with the Jamaica, but they're also made on our Instagram page or with the .Jamaica, on our TikTok page or with the Jamaica, and on our Facebook page or with the Jamaica 876. So if you have one of those social media platforms, please ensure that you follow us there, as we may post throughout the day that you can't afford to miss. So we can see the visible satellite image at around 7:21 a.m. highlighting the clouds, bring some overcast skies, if not some isolated showers. The section of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, Trelawney, section of St. James and Hanover definitely gotten on some of the action as well. As usual, we can't rule out some of this activity spilling into sections of some southern parishes. So maybe a section of some northern areas or some southern parishes might have gotten on some of the rainfall too. And throughout the day, we definitely got that across northern Jamaica. I mean, look at the clouds. They haven't moved a bit. Look at that northeasterly flow into northern Jamaica, and we see that southern parishes definitely in the clear, but we definitely have some of these clouds spilling into section of some southern parishes, bring some isolated showers to section of St. Elizabeth, even section of Kingston and St. Andrew gotten on some of the afternoon shower activity too. And if we take a look at the visible satellite images of Jamaica before the sun went down, we can make out that northeasterly flow even better. And we can also make out how the clouds are just sitting on top of Portland, St. Mary, St. Anne, St. James, section of Hanover for sure, and we can see us losing the daylight right there. But the infrared not really showing much. This is how we need the visible to show us what's happening. We can make out the milky whitish clouds a bit, especially across St. Mary and Portland. But clearly the highest, coldest cloud tops are off to our southeast. Some thunderstorms definitely out there. Even saw some sparkling white dots right here off to our southeast, associated with the trough that's currently lashing portions of Central America. We can see some of the activity right here to the southeast of Jamaica. Some of the activity definitely lashing portions of Haiti as we speak. Alright, so let us go back. Yeah, here we go. So to highlight that we indeed got some amount of rainfall across the corporate area, this is See Jamaica's YouTube channel showing crossroads at around 12 p.m. today. And we can definitely see that we're getting in on some amount of light to moderate rainfall. We can see some big raindrops for sure. People walking with their umbrellas for sure. And the vehicles with their windshield wipers on here. Definitely got in on some brief rainfall. Nothing too drastic like what the north coast was getting, but we mentioned this, that we could get on some amount of rainfall spilling into section of some southern parishes during the afternoon, given that moist northeasterly flow. And we definitely got that today across section of some southern parishes, and we can see the accumulated precipitation for the past 24 hours from the Caribbean Institute for Meteorology and Hydrology confirming this. I mean, look at the amount of rainfall that Portland has been getting. Could be more than this, could be less than this. We can also see that it definitely spilled into section of St. James, Trelawney, section of St. Anne, section of Hanover as well. And we see the colors right here across the southern portion of the island to show that we got in on some of the action across section of Kingston, as well as sections of St. Elizabeth. And we got some comments because yesterday we highlighted yesterday's video talking about Christmas breeze, and the northeasterly flow definitely brought the cooler than average temperatures, and that's going to be experienced tonight into tomorrow, especially tomorrow. The winds are going to be very strong tomorrow for sure. We have a comment here from Sunny Badness stating extremely cold in Bel Air, Mandeville. Boy, this is just the beginning, because tomorrow definitely going to be getting it even worse. We have Anto _Netty _89 stating light showers here on Washington Boulevard and some light breeze as well. If we take a look at the very latest still image from the Weather Nerds website, let us see what's happening right now. So 23:55 UTC is about the same as 6:55 p.m. Jamaica time, and that just came out what, 5:10, almost 15 minutes ago, considering that it's 7:09 p.m. right now. We still see the milky whitish colors that represent some cloud cover across section of St. Mary, Portland right now, but the highest, coldest cloud tops are right here to the southeast of the island still. Let's see if we can match it to the latest Cuban Doppler radar images. Oh no, unfortunately the Cuban Doppler radar glitched out at 5:10 p.m. but we can definitely make out the rainfall to the southeast of us. Can't really make out the rainfall that's affecting the north coast right now though. But if we take a look at the Guantanamo Bay Cuban Naval Radar imagery, we can definitely make out some rainfall, definitely lashing portions of the western peninsula of Haiti as we speak, eastern Cuba getting out some of the action. If we take a look at the Cayman radar, I'm not seeing much happening in and around the Cayman Islands right now at all. Looking at the latest live cam from See Jamaica's YouTube channel, subscribe to their channel so that you can see more of this flat bridge halfway through. Not seeing much happening right now as of 7:11 p.m. Definitely fear as we speak, but that could definitely change within the next 24 to 48 hours. Some of the rainfall that's going to be plaguing northern Jamaica definitely could spill into section of some southern parishes. Taking a look at the temperatures right now, we can still have 26 degrees Celsius in both Montego Bay and Kingston. Could be higher than this, could be lower than this. And we can see that as we head into 4 a.m. on Wednesday, temperatures should dip down to about 25 degrees Celsius in Montego Bay, 24 degrees Celsius in Kingston. And we can definitely see the winds picking up. Look at those greens into the gold colors that represent anywhere from 20 all the way up to 30 knots. And we could definitely get it to gust even higher than that in some isolated spots. So get ready for some possible power outages, especially if you're on the north coast. Branches falling, trees falling. It's definitely a possibility on the north coast for sure, given the strong northeasterly winds that are expected, and they could definitely be up to gale force. We're going to be talking more about that shortly. But let us look at the temperature forecast. This map from the GFS is valid for 18th on Wednesday. We're talking about 1 p.m. on Wednesday, and we can see Jamaica right here, embedded in some grays and some slight blue colors that represents average, slightly below average temperatures, as you can see by the key on the right here. The very cold temperatures are represented by the greens into the purples. They represent what, 4 all the way down to what 8 degrees below normal temperatures. Definitely a lashing portion of Florida as we speak, so too sections of the Bahamas. And we can definitely see that the northeasterly flow is going to be bringing even more cooler than average temperatures. Most of us won't even feel it, especially if we're on the south coast, mainly during the nights or in the early morning hours. That's when we're going to be feeling the brunt of the cooler than average temperatures. But if you're in Manchester, like that commenter stated, you're going to be feeling it. Manchester is naturally cooler than average, especially given the hilly or the topography nature of that parish. If we take a look at the average temperatures for the month of December, we spoke about this. 87 degrees Fahrenheit is the average temperature. That's around 30.6 degrees Celsius. So given the temperature forecast, we're expecting anywhere from, let's say, maybe 27 up to 30 degrees Celsius at most for Jamaica's temperature on Wednesday. But if tomorrow's temperatures are going to be a bit too hot for you, especially if you're on the south coast where it's going to be sunny for the most part, it's the north coast that's going to be getting the strongest wind and the rainfall and the cooler than average temperatures. So if you're going to be on the south coast, please note that my GPS online is highlighting power outage maintenance for these areas. So you know that you're not going to be having your fan to cool you down if there's going to be a power outage. And we're talking about Campbell Boulevard in St. Andrew at around 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. We're also referring to Greenwich to Jerusalem in Hanover, 9:15 to 5:30 p.m. University Crescent in St. Andrew, 9:30 a.m. to 5 p.m. Spot Valley in St. James, 9:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. Valdez Road in St. Catherine, 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. And Canewood Housing Scheme in Portland, 8:30 a.m. to 4:30 p.m. So if you live or work in those areas, expect a power outage. If you have friends who live or work in those areas or relatives, let them know that a power outage is coming their way, because you know power outages aren't cute at all. Having no electricity to keep us cool, or you know, to have us being able to do our business or whatever the case may be. Boy, just trying to get the word out there so that everybody knows what's to come. If we take a look at ways to beat the heat, if it's gonna be a bit too hot for you tomorrow, especially on the south coast, try your very best to dress down, wear lightweight clothing and use sunscreen. Check in on others, including children, elderly people with medical conditions. Be cool, stay indoors, and make use of fans and air conditionings. Avoid alcohol, caffeine, as they make you dehydrated. Limit non-essential strenuous activity during the hottest parts of the day, and keep hydrated. I cannot stress enough how important it is to always stay hydrated. Some people have heat-related illnesses and they don't even know that all they need to do is just stay hydrated throughout the day. And put away those sugar drinks. Drink water instead. If we take a look at the dry air map, we still see that the most moist areas represented by the blues are still across the southwestern Caribbean into the Greater Antilles right there, while the driest areas represented by the yellows across the Bahamas, the northwestern Caribbean into the Gulf of Mexico off the east coast of the US, the eastern to the central Caribbean or the east central Caribbean, as well as the main development region. We know all of the dry areas represented by what we see on the key on the bottom, the yellows, the oranges, the reds, and the whites within those reds. If we take a look at the Saharan dust forecast for 2 p.m. on Wednesday, we can see North America, the Bahamas, the Caribbean, as well as much of South America in the clear. We have Jamaica right here in the clear as well, because all of the browns that represent the Saharan dust should be across the waters of the main development region as well as Africa. And we're indeed glad that we're not seeing that vigorous plume that we know is represented by the darkest shades of browns. that we know can cause the very hazy skies, not to mention trigger some amount of respiratory illnesses. We're talking asthma, sinusitis in some persons. If you take a look at the wave forecast, the waves are definitely responding to the winds for sure. Lots of purples in and around Jamaica, around the Cayman Islands, into the Western Caribbean. Represented 2 all the way up to 3, maybe even 4 meter wave heights, maybe even 5 meter wave heights for sure. Because the winds are going to be strong. I mean, look at the flow from the northeast. Definitely going to be experiencing some strong northeasterly winds. We're talking about anywhere from 20 to 30 knots, maybe even gusting to gale force, all the way up to 40 knot winds. That could definitely cause power outages, down trees, you would name it, for especially northern Jamaica. We can also expect some of these strong winds in Cayman Islands, as well as into portions of Central America too. So get ready for that. And if we take a closer look at Jamaica, we can definitely see that northeasterly flow that's expected. Strong northeasterly flow definitely expected across the island for sure. Can definitely see it. Get ready for the strong northeasterly winds. As a matter of fact, it has already started today, and it's going to be continuing tomorrow even more so. And with the upper level winds still coming in from the southwest, definitely going to be keeping most of the rainfall across the northern portion of the island, especially if we get into some thunderstorms. Definitely going to be keeping it or blowing back the cloud cover towards the northeast. And looking at the actual rainfall forecast maps, we could definitely continue to get rainfall tonight into tomorrow morning, but we're going to be looking at 6 a.m. on the Euro as well as the GFS. And I mean, look at this forecast. The dark blues into the greens. That's going to be plaguing portion of Portland and St. Mary. That's ridiculous for 6 a.m. GFS showing more blues than anything else, but it's still a lot of rainfall that's expected. Skipping to 10 a.m. the Euro still showing a lot of rainfall with the dark blues and the greens across Portland and St. Mary. GFS still has a lot of rainfall in the blues. Keeping to 3 p.m. Look at the Euro, man. The Euro is definitely robust with the rainfall. All day rainfall for Portland and St. Mary with the blues, the greens, even the yellows, oranges. That's ridiculous. GFS still a bit more reserved with the blues across northeastern parishes. Some of this could definitely spill into section of some southern parishes. We've been talking about that. 7 p.m. on Wednesday, still showing a lot of rainfall across Portland and St. Mary. GFS still more reserved with the blues. Guys, the rainfall could definitely spill into St. Anne, Trelawney, St. James and Hanover too. So get ready for that. It could also spill into section of St. Catherine, Kingston, St. Andrew and St. Thomas. Get ready for all of that. And we spoke about this. The relief rainfall, the strong northeasterly winds that are going to be plaguing the northeastern section of the island right here. St. Mary, Portland. And then we see what was taking place on the visible today. As soon as it got to the hilly interior section, we saw definitely clear skies across the south. We can see it right here, guys. Let me see if I can pause this image. This was what was happening today. The northeastern sides getting in on the brunt of the cloud cover and the rainfall for sure. Portland, St. Mary. While the southern side getting in on the sunshine. This is what we talk about when we refer to relief rainfall. They've been getting it, and more of this is definitely expected on Wednesday, even more so. And look at the accumulated precipitation forecast. This is just a 24-hour accumulated precipitation forecast map. We don't normally see this unless there's a wicked trough stalling out or a tropical depression or storm. But within the next 24 hours, according to the Euro, we're expecting up to 4 inches of rainfall or more for a section of Portland and St. Mary. Let's see if that actually verifies. We can see a lot of colors here on the north coast. Section of St. Anne 0.8, Trelawney 0.38, St. James 0.25. Still too much rainfall. And look at the south coast. Little to no rainfall at all. But we can rule out some rainfall for section of the south coast, especially during the afternoon hours. So get ready for some of that. The GFS definitely less robust than the Euro, showing up to at least an inch and 11 across Portland, maybe section of St. Mary as well. We'll see exactly what unfolds either way. In Kingston, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the top, we usually receive up to what? 25 millimeters of rainfall. That's an inch of rainfall. In Montego Bay, whose bar graph is being shown right here at the bottom, we usually receive close to 4 inches of rainfall. That's almost 100 millimeters of rainfall actually. So that's what, 90 millimeters of rainfall. And I'd like for you to keep in mind that if you'd like to find out what your specific partridge area sees for the month of December or from January to December, you can visit weatherandclimate.com and they'll show you that information. And regarding the rainfall that's received on the rain gauge, you can do the calculations too. You know that 1 inch of rainfall is about the same as 25 millimeters of rainfall. Alright, so that's it for the forecast across Jamaica. Let us focus our attention on the rest of the Caribbean. So as stated, we have the clouds of the frontal system still bring some amount of rainfall and overcast skies to section of the Bahamas, section of Cuba. We also see the northeasterly flow coming into portion of Central America. Lots of rainfall still lashing portions of Belize, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, Costa Rica, Panama. Section of Colombia getting in on some of the action too. Southern Venezuela, we're talking about sections of Guyana getting in on some of the rainfall, as well as sections of Trinidad and Tobago today. And if we take a look at the Doppler radar images of the northeastern Caribbean, we can see some rainfall to the east of Antigua and Barbuda, to the east of St. Kitts, to the east of Guadeloupe, to the southeast of the US Virgin Islands, as well as to the west of Puerto Rico. And if we load these images from earlier today, you can definitely make out that from 135 sections of eastern, central, and especially northwestern Puerto Rico, definitely getting in some heavy rainfall right there with the dark greens, yellows, oranges for sure. If we take a look at the Barbados radar, not seeing much happening across Barbados right now, maybe some hit or miss isolated shores. But we do see some rainfall coming in from the east portions of northern Martinique, maybe even section of Dominica. Scrolling down, we can see eastern portions of Tobago as well as northern portions getting on some of the action passing from east to west. Not seeing much action right here across Trinidad at all. But if we load the weather via Doppler radar images, we can see that heavy rainfall as represented by the yellows, oranges, and reds that's currently lashing portions of eastern Nicaragua, section of the ABC Islands getting on some isolated shores as we speak, so too sections of western Colombia. And if we take a look at where the rainfall is expected within the next 24 hours, definitely for the ABC Islands, I'm sure they're grateful for the rainfall that's to come. We see the greens, we see the yellows. You can also see some rainfall expected across sections of Guyana, not so much Suriname or French Guiana, but definitely northern, eastern, southern, and western Venezuela, section of Colombia, Panama, Costa Rica, Nicaragua, Honduras, section of Guatemala, Belize. You can also see some rainfall in store for eastern Cuba, southern Bahamas, Turks and Caicos, northeastern Jamaica, Haiti, the Dominican Republic, Puerto Rico, the US and British Virgin Islands, Anguilla, St. Martin, St. Kitts and Nevis, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Barts, Guadeloupe, Dominica right there. And we see that both the Euro and the GFS models are in consensus with this forecast. I know that when they're in consensus like this, the chances of it actually happening are much higher. Alright, so that's it for today. Thanks for